Hello and welcome, and thank you for coming to today's Atticus webinar, Parenting, Partnering, and Practicing, How to Carve Out Time for a Family Vacation. This is the third in our Parenting, Partnering, and Practicing series, and it has been well received, and we've really gotten a lot of great questions in the previous sessions. Our presenters today are Cary Moss and Michele Fuller, and Cary and Michele are longtime clients of Atticus and also now adjunct practice advisors. And they are nationally known for speaking and for growing successful practices on their own, also being wonderful partners and parents to their families. This whole series has been very important to them to share their experiences with you and our strategies and how they have grown more balanced lives. Cary and Michele, thank you so much for leading this series. I look forward to hearing more on today's topic, carving out time for a family vacation, which I know a lot of attorneys, even the thought of taking a week off, freaks them out a little bit. So, Cary, why don't you start us off and tell us about why this issue is important to you?
Right, so it's right here before you. This is my family. I've got now an 18-year-old and a 16-year-old as of this month. And, you know, I knew from the time that they were little that I wanted to be there and be able to participate fully in their activities, whatever they ended up choosing to do. And not only did I want to be there physically, Michele, I've told you this before, but I wanted to be there mentally. I wanted to be present in what they were doing. I didn't want to be, you know, just sitting in the stands looking at my phone. I wanted them to know that I genuinely wanted to be there and watch and participate and enjoy those moments and memories. And so for me, I just did not want to have any regrets, and I wanted to be present because I knew that they were only going to be little for so long, and boy, are they not little anymore.
I don't think they were ever little, Cary.
They really were, like when they were babies, I promise.
You know, you can see I have a lot of kids, 4, and there's 5 years between the oldest and the youngest. So I was a little crazy for a while, but I did practice the whole time. But what it taught me was how to set really hard boundaries. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. But this is our reason for, you know, this is the most important thing that we'll do. This is our most important project in life, is to need to be a good parent, have successful, happy kids, self-supporting, happy kids, because as they're getting older, this is a couple of years old now, and my wonderful husband Kevin is on the far left, and it's my second marriage and his also, so that comes into play. So Cary, you know, she is on her first husband.
As my mom says, my current husband. I thought, you know, she introduced that one time, my current husband. Interesting.
Right. That's right. But so she's, you know, made a very long-lasting relationship. And, you know, but I may represent some of you as well that are maybe either divorced or on a second marriage, dealing with blended families. And so this half hour that we're spending together today is really just to give top tips, but we'll do an introduction and a much deeper dive in another opportunity that we'll talk about. But one of those 4 has special needs. And so that was an additional reason to set hard boundaries. And so with that, Cary's going to talk about the balance and the things that we really struggle with.
All right, Mike, I'm going to have you advance your screen. All right, thank you. So here we are. If you've been on any of the previous webinars, you've seen this. And, you know, you look at it from the standpoint we want to have, I mean, we're all in the same boat. We want to have a thriving, successful business, but we also want to be good parents, and we want to be good partners to that significant other. And so, you know, there tends to be this kind of constant ongoing, you know, juggling of all of our different responsibilities. And really the key to being able to juggle all of this successfully is to be able to prioritize and to make sure that we are putting those loved ones, our, you know, significant others, our kids, that we're making them a priority, and we're going to build this practice around that to be able to support that balanced life and that wonderful life that we want to have. And so, Mike, if you'll advance to the next screen. And you're going to see on this next screen here, this is the 3 balls that we're all juggling. You know, we're parenting not only our kids, but Michele, I know you're going through this, we're parenting our parents too. I mean, we're having to deal with things on their front as well. And then we're trying to build this practice and make it successful and grow. And there's certain expectations that we have for ourselves and that others have for us with this practice. And then that's the partnering. And whether, you know, you're living under one roof with somebody, your significant other, or, you know, Michele, you're co-parenting with the kid's dad, that's all a juggle that we're trying to manage every day. And I remember those times thinking I wasn't doing anything well. I felt like I was just kind of really just trying to keep them from not hitting the ground, but I wasn't really doing anything well, and I felt very out of control. And so what the goal is, and what Michele and I have experienced over time with Atticus, is we're trying to cultivate some harmony in our life. And so cultivate, right? You're tending just like you would to a garden or a crop. You're trying to look for things to improve upon, to different pest control, a different, you know, whatever, you know, anything that you're trying to do to make it better. The harmony is that you want to have, you know, be in that balanced state. You're trying to make sure that not one thing is dominating to the extent and the exclusion of something else. And so it's a skill that we're learning. And I would never profess, and I know Michele wouldn't either, to say that we're perfect at this. We are always building that skill, and that's where Atticus has really helped us, is to, hey, gee whiz, when things get thrown at us, when we have a sick kid, a sick parent, you know, I've said this where I've had 4 parents have heart issues all at the same time, that throws a little bit of a monkey wrench, right, into my life. And so it's adjusting, it's realizing what I can do better to kind of bring that back into a state of harmony. So Mike, if you'll advance to that next screen. And so what we're talking about today is planning your time off. It's important, it matters. And the reason is, you know, we've all initially built these practices up just by working so hard. You know, I mean, I think we all probably have a pretty strong work ethic. I'll do whatever I need to do to make things happen. And so naturally we have a tendency, if we do have some time off, it's real easy for life to life us and kind of get back into that work mode because we're good at it. That's what we've been doing. So to, you know, get those emails back to clients and to answer that voicemail, and gee whiz, I can just knock out this petition really quickly so my paralegal doesn't have to, I can get it out today, right? It's really easy to fall back into those natural things that we're used to doing as far as work is concerned. So it's important that you plan your time off, that you really spend some time, and we're going to show you a tool to use, but to spend some time really thinking through that and plan it, so to set yourself up for that success and having some time off. But why does it really matter to have time off? People would say, oh, you know, I go on vacation, I can knock out a bunch of emails at 6 o'clock in the morning before the kids, you know, wake up, and then we're off. But what people don't realize, and I specifically remember this happening to me, I'd be on the ski slopes out in Colorado with my family and checking my emails as I'm getting off the lift, and you get that one email that really just, you know, annoys you, upsets you, and it just permeates through the rest of the day with your family or friends or whoever you're with, because it would just give me some anxiety, or I'd be aggravated. And the next thing you know, I'm kind of taking that out on whoever I'm with, versus really just, like Michele said, creating those boundaries where I can really enjoy that time off. And so you'll start to see there's these other benefits that come from taking time off. So, you know, the brain science out there is pretty clear in the sense that when you give your brain a rest, you then tend to be sharper when you come back, more creative, being able to innovate, being able to think things through more clearly. And so it is important to give your brain that rest. And answering emails, you know, 30 of them before you head out on the slopes or on the beach or whatever it is not truly giving your brain a rest. And the other thing is, you know, you have these bonding moments with your family and friends, whoever you're with. You're exposing your kids to new places, or your family to new places that they may not have seen, and great experiences. And, you know, I just sat at a football game 2 weeks ago to watch my older son, and my little brother was there because his kids were on the other team. And so we got to watch our boys play against each other. But what happened as we sat there, and we're the youngest of 10 between my mom and my stepdad. So we always had the benefit of traveling with my parents. They took us all over Egypt and Europe and some wonderful places. But every time you bring up the comment about a hubcap, we will both start incessantly laughing. This is the memory that we have when we went to Europe. And if you've ever seen European Vacation, you know, with Clark Griswold going around the roundabout, that is my family. My dad could not get over, knocked a hubcap off as he hit the thing, and it went flying behind us. So to this day, if you say hubcap, we die laughing, and we cannot stop laughing because of that moment. And so it's those things that are so important, that you have, you know, this life that is great for you, whatever that is, but you got to plan it, and you've got to take that time off. Those are those invisible benefits. The other really important thing that took me a little bit longer to see, but I realize it now, is it gives others an opportunity in your firm to step up when you're gone. So if you truly separate yourself from the firm when you take that half a day, that week, that 2 weeks, that month off, you are going to see people in your office step up and get things done. And it's an opportunity, number one, to see some weaknesses in your business. But number two, it does give those people the opportunity to step up, and there's value in that. I could talk, you know, for the next 45 minutes on that, but realize there's significant value in letting people step up and assume some other responsibilities, to take things off your plate and to let them feel valued as well. So Mike, you want to advance the next screen? So Michele, I'm going to kind of move it over to you and let you kind of take the next several slides.
Okay, thanks, Cary. Cary, you're just such a great job talking about the compelling reasons to take time off and the benefits, and not just to you, your family, but also your firm. And that might be something of a shock to people to think, well, you mean I have to delegate? That might be a little confrontational to people. And so they think, well, taking a whole day off? I mean, how many of us have scheduled a day off, but then we respond to things and it ends up not really being a day off? And so what we want to do is talk about some of the techniques that we use to be able to do that. And so we talk about this instead of thinking about taking a whole week off, or taking 2 weeks, or even 4 weeks off. We've had some people in our DYM group taking off, you know, a whole month at a time, and they have had to prepare for that. So in that spirit of preparation, right, we want to talk about, instead of looking at this as an insurmountable goal, start small bites, right? Something manageable that you can implement immediately. And so what we want to do is go to the next slide, is talk about some of the nuts and bolts about how you prepare. You prepare yourself, prepare your firm, even preparing your family. And so what we want to do is, you know, this My Great Life is a book and a journal, basically a time management tool for you, your team, even your family. And it took Atticus a long time to really get this, I don't know, this is, I think, version 3 now. And it is a great tool. And I have to tell you, I am not a natural checklist person. I was never a checklist person. I don't like making even lists to go to the grocery store. I'm the shop up and down the aisle type of gal, but not with this. And I have to tell you, using this tool and actually writing things out and planning my day, my week, even my weekend, has made me incredibly more productive and focused. And so what it takes is just a couple of minutes of just, don't dive right into email, get your cup of coffee or tea or water, and sit down and think about what you need to get done that day. Because I know if you're like me, I have gone through many days where I have just gone from fire to fire to fire, or got pulled into email, or, hey, do you have just a minute? I have a quick question. And next thing you know, an hour's gone. And I leave at the end of the day really busy and exhausted, but not having accomplished some of the really key things that I needed to get done. So sit down and plan out your free time first, your personal time, your partnering time, your family time. So we talked about that with, with 4 kids, I had to have really hard boundaries, especially it was critical to me when they were little, that I had very short days. I put the kids on the bus and I was the first person they saw when they came home, when that first bus came home. So my day was pretty short. It was from 9 to 2:30. And that happened for quite a few years. So I had to set really hard boundaries. The family time came first and I had to protect that. And that included weekends. And so then you plan your work week. And this planner is really helpful to do that. And so it forces you to just be really clear on the top priority things that you need to get done professionally, but your professional life fits into your family life, not the other way around. And that might be a little confrontational for some of you. And so it's also really important to protect that time off, right? I talked about, you have a scheduled day off, but it really doesn't turn into a scheduled day off because people are pinging you, you're responding to email. So set an auto response. The communication can be automatic without you having to participate in it, to let people know when to expect a response. And that should please about 99% of people. And also, Cary mentioned something about protecting your time by training your staff. What if somebody could monitor your email while you're gone? Or you are able to then delegate, or if you're somebody who doesn't like to delegate a whole lot, it kind of forces you to be able to start to let go of some of the things and that you really can let go or should let go. And it forces you to train that person. So even to take time off, starting with, say, like a half a day, you have to prepare your staff to be able to do that. And it may take a little training. There's only so much time. Cary alluded to this and said it really well, that the kids are little for such a short time. And if you neglect your spouse, if you neglect your kids in those key relationships, the satisfaction in those relationships is just as important, if not more important, than whatever goes on at work. But we spend more time at work than we do with our family. So don't let your work life leak into and leach away from those most important relationships. And so, plan for your time off, just like you plan for anything else. You guys are great lawyers. Plan for it. And so where to start? Start small. Plan a half a day. What would a great day look like? And we have a little tool that we'll introduce to help you start to do that. So it doesn't have to be overwhelming. Start small. But a day off, a real day off, means no emails, no work, no phone calls. It is pure fun, right? Hopefully no errands, right? It should be pure fun, pure pleasure, quality time. Even if that quality time is just with yourself. Okay? Mike, okay, there you go. So what was your last great day off, right? So Cary, why don't you tell me about your last great day off? What did you do?
Well, COVID is a little interference for all of us, right? In our normal kind of days off. But, one of my greatest days off is truly just going on the boat with my family, even if it was just my spouse. I like to fish, as you might see the pictures behind me. And about an hour from here, we have Mosquito Lagoon. And so I can be out there on a boat going to a quote unquote beach bar, restaurant, whatever. But that's where I want to be. And I don't want to be checking emails, and I don't want to be distracted by other things. I want to be out there. I want to be looking at the dolphins and the manatees and fishing and, having a couple beers out there and, just taking it all in. And so that was probably my last great day off. I haven't had the normal vacations like many of us have not had since COVID, but that would truly be just an easy day off for me.
And what kind of preparation did you do to be able to make that such a great day?
Well, I learned when I first took my very first vacation, where I committed to say I'm going to take time off and I'm truly not going to do any work at all, and I'm going to see how this goes, was when I went to Colorado for 9 days. And I really did zero work. I never called the office. I didn't check one email. I didn't talk about work, nothing. And that, like you said, requires planning. So anytime I'm taking time off, You know, I'm very particular about setting myself up for success with that. And that would mean somebody is checking my emails, and we have a plan for that. And I give myself a couple days on the front end of the vacation, on the back end of the vacation, to get prepared and to deal with things when I come back. I have delegated certain tasks to people that I didn't need to do anymore. I told people, do not call me from my office unless it is burning down or somebody in my family has died. I don't want to be contacted at all. So we went, you know, I have kind of on my email about 3 to 4 weeks before I leave, I put on there, I'm leaving from this date to this date. I will not be accessible. So it is about the planning, and it's important that you put some thought into it and figure out, what can I delegate away? Who's going to be watching my emails? Let's go over that and see what that looks like. Okay, if I get it from these, you're going to send it to the paralegal who's in charge. If I get junk stuff, delete it. These are my junk things, delete it. So when I come back, I don't have 9,000 emails and I'm not worried about it. And so it really is about the preparation. So anytime I'm taking time off, whether it's a day or it's 10 days or whatever that looks like, it's all about the preparation on the front end and giving yourself a little bit of leeway on the back end as well.
Hey, Cary.
And so this is
and Michele, I just want to mention on the screen, we've got the My Great Day form, and the audience members can download that from the handout section on their GoToWebinar dashboard as a PDF. It's fillable. You can type in it if you don't want to print it out and handwrite on it. Save a copy, you know, to your desktop so you can plan future days off. So it's free to you to use. And everything that Cary just mentioned about what has to happen, what the great elements were, you can outline all of that right there on that simple form.
And there is a benefit to handwriting it out because there is some like a hand-brain connection. And when you write it out, it's a little bit slower than typing, and it actually helps you to clarify what your action items might be. So, you know, and it's important to even fill out the bottom part, like what's your top insight that, oh, you know what, I can take some time off. And what do I need to do? So then how do you start to implement? What's your top action item? It might be calendaring it. Just calendar, you know, 2 or 3 Fridays from now, you take a full day off. And what will you need to do to make that a great day for yourself? And what are you going to do? Because otherwise, if you don't plan something fun that's compelling for you to do, it's just going to end up kind of, you know, you running errands and doing laundry and other stuff that you can't usually get to. And then eventually taking some calls from the office, and because you're kind of bored, and, you know, our default is to work when we're at loose ends. And so making a plan, reaching out to a friend you haven't contacted in a while. Maybe your spouse takes that day off too, if it's possible. I know Cary, both Cary and I have the challenge and blessing of working with our spouses, which creates its own interesting dynamics. So complaining to the boss only gets you so far. So I think that it's the most important thing is to take some small action. And maybe you haven't had a chance to read that favorite book that just came out. And it might feel really decadent to just lay in bed, sleep in, and have a hot cup of coffee or tea and read that favorite book, and everybody is out of the house. So whatever floats your boat, write it down and start to take some small action.
You know, Michele, one thing I was going to add to that, you know, my insight when I did finally take that step to take that time off and really tell everybody I was going to do this so it would hold me accountable. But my big insight from that was that on that, and I've told you this, when on that way home from that trip, my youngest one said to me, and he was only like 7 or 8, I like it when you don't work all the time. I mean, that shocked me that a 7 or 8-year-old, however he was at the time, clued into that. I didn't tell them I wasn't going to work. He just saw a difference in me. And I think that's important to highlight, is that people notice that, your kids notice that, your spouse, your partner will notice that, because you are more present and engaged. And you don't let those emails throw you off and have a bad day because of it.
Yeah, and I have to tell you, I remember being in line at Disney World and checking my email.
Yeah.
Right. So I could have been talking to them, talking to the kids,
Mm-hmm.
But instead I'm on my email because you don't want to miss, you don't want to feel like I didn't have anyone to delegate it to, or wasn't willing to delegate that at that time. So
But your
we
kids
have,
are watching.
yeah, they're watching. And
Mhm.
not only that, just, they feel like, oh, work is more important than I am. And we all know that's not true, but
Right.
being there physically and being present mentally, as you so well, pointed out, is two different things. And so I have tried to make a concerted effort. And I think we've all had the experience of we're sitting at a table at a restaurant and our spouse pulls out their cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
You suddenly feel dismissed. And so it's really hard to recognize that in ourselves. And it starts with us setting that example and being fully present. So, hats off to you, Cary. You recognized it really early. And it's great when we have teenagers that are so willing to call us out.
Or a 7-year-old.
That's right.
Right.
That's right. So Cary's going to talk about trying to make space for this. We talked about the need for planning. So Cary's going to talk about how to make space for that in our calendars.
Right. So, we've talked about that we're learning a skill, right? I mean, with these different things that we're doing to improve our practice for the benefit of our personal life, it's important that we manage our time. It really comes down to that. And if your days, I mean, this is a great illustration. If your day looks like this, where it's just so packed and you feel out of control, which I did for so many years, and didn't feel like I was doing anything well, how can you ever make any kind of critical change if there is no room in your calendar, if it looks like this? I mean, it's impossible. So what we want to look at is ways to improve your time management so that you do have time to grow your practice, to go on vacation, to have a great team, all of those things. And if you're going to make those changes, you've got to have room on your calendar. And with Atticus, what it's taught me, and I've been with them for quite some time, but you've got to have, a compelling reason for that change. Well, my compelling reason is my family. I don't want to miss out on that. I want to have a great practice that serves my clients well, that has a great team that's happy to be here. But at the end of the day, my family is the utmost importance. So they are my reason for wanting to make things better here at the office. And then, of course, you've got to have a system of accountability. And that's what Atticus provided me from the very get-go is somebody to be there to give me guidance, but also to hold me accountable. You're not doing this, Cary. This is, you got to walk the walk and walk the talk, right? So they're there to provide that accountability. And then the coaching and guidance is so important. And for years, I've had coaches with Atticus that gave me some specific, guidance and coaching. And Michele, I know that you've done that as well. But this is the change formula. You've got to have, what is your compelling reason? You've got to have somebody or something holding you accountable. And we all need some coaching and guidance. I know how to work hard, and I'll work 24/7 if I had to. But that's not really what I'm going for to have a great life. And so to have somebody give me that guidance and kind of coach me through these things and where I can make things better, I would have never had that 10 or 9-day vacation with no work. And God, it was the best thing ever. I playing cards with my kids. I just had never had that experience. And so for me, the mindset shifted and I was like, okay, I'm happier now about my work, right? I don't have these thoughts like, oh God, I'll do this for another 30 years. I mean, it gave me a completely different outlook on what my practice is there to do, and the importance of my family and protecting that, as Michele pointed out, with those boundaries. So, Mike, if you want to go ahead and advance to the next screen.
Thank you, Cary, and thank you, Michele. And I will just to add on to that, when a lot of attorneys discover Atticus, they do often think, I just want to have better clients or more clients. That'll solve my problems. But often it's the time management issues and getting control of their day and their week that gives them back the time to actually put into growing the practice instead of constantly playing whack-a-mole with everything. So that's really kind of where it starts. It's yes, we know you want more clients and better clients, and we'll help you achieve those goals, but we've got to help you get control of your time and your focus. So I want to thank everybody for coming today. This was the third in our series. And if you've attended any of these 3 webinars here, like you're doing today, we're going to give you a coupon code for our upcoming workshop. And I'm going to post in the chat box a link to that workshop's page. And you can, after today's webinar, you can register for that workshop for just $99 instead of $4.99. So we are doing this to show appreciation to you for the time you've devoted to coming to these sessions and listening and speaking to Cary and Michele and communicating with us about what's important to you in achieving some balance in your life. And the code word is harmony. So if you want to register for that upcoming workshop, click that link in the box, fill out the registration form, and put in the discount code of harmony, and it will bring that price down to $99 for you. It's on December 1st from 12 to 4. We're going to do a much deeper dive on the issues that we have covered in these 3 webinars. In particular, we're going to spend some time on how to hire and manage a domestic assistant. We always get lots of questions about that. And not every situation is exactly the same. No family is exactly the same as another, and your needs for your domestic assistant won't be the same as what Michelle's domestic assistant does. We're also going to teach you how to say no to your practice and set boundaries so that you can have a life outside of the office and that you don't do the retirement plan of dying at your desk. And how to use a family meeting agenda to build a stronger connection with your loved ones, how to get together as a family and pick goals together and check in with each other. We really want to take you a significant step forward in actually achieving some work-life balance instead of just chasing that pipe dream of one day I'm going to have more free time. So that's the goal of that workshop. And we really hope you attend. And in fact, if you have a friend that you think should attend that workshop, please share the link with them. Let them know about it. I don't even care if you share the coupon code. I want more people to come so that we can help them with that workshop. We'll be posting the recordings of all 3 sessions. We'll send you a link to that as well. So if there's one of these you missed that you'd like to go back and watch, you'll have that information within the next couple of business days. And at this time, we're open to any questions that you might have. You can chat them in the chat box. You can raise your hand icon on the dashboard, and I can call on you and unmute you if you have any questions for Cary or Michele, or any thoughts that have occurred to you after listening to today's session. So we'll give you a minute if you'd like to, again, put it in the chat box and send it to us as a question. And if you'd like that question to remain anonymous, let me know so that I don't say your name aloud. Cary and Michele, thank you so much today and for all of these sessions we've had. I know we're doing the workshop on December 1st, and we'll likely pick up with new topics on parenting, partnering, and practicing in the early spring of next year with new webinars as well. So again, thank you both so much for your time and your caring about this subject. I know you both care about improving other attorneys' lives from the benefits that you've received from working with Atticus as practice advisors and in our programs. And I want to thank you for your time. They aren't getting paid to do this, folks. They volunteer their time on each of these webinars, and they run busy practices. So thank you both.
Thanks, Mike.
Okay.
Take care, everyone. Hope to see you on December 1st.
Yes. So there are no questions typed in, but if something occurs to you afterward and you'd like to ask Cary or Michele a question, or you have an insight about this, you can email grow@atticusadvantage.com. and I will pass the information along to them. Or if you simply have a question about how we can help you with your practice, email us again at grow@atticusadvantage.com. Thank you again, everyone. Have a great afternoon, and we will see you next time.